Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, not a whole lot has changed. Things are looking a little better in the real estate market. Of course, January and February have been just a wash. Although I did notice that Chris Grimm did sell a lake property that had been on the market quite a while, so that's a nice thing happening out there. But I get numbers every year this time about the previous year, sales, days on the market, volume of sales, that sort of thing, from the local MLS. And when you're dealing with the MLS, that is just local sales that are sold through realtors. So that doesn't take into account any new homes sold, somebody's building a new home. And I have taught, when I prepared for this presentation, I did talk to a few bankers, and they're telling me that new home sales are really up. So, I mean, interest rates are still fairly low, so, and it doesn't take into account if someone sold the house on their own. So these are homes that can be traced through the local MLS. And MLS stands for a multiple listing service. My first slide shows Auglaize County. Now take into account that this is the entire county. This isn't just lake properties. And you could see upper right-hand corner, total sold volume is up, number sold is up. I mean, they just keep edging up year after year. And then you look at the middle chart and it says average sold price and average original list. This again tells you what kind of return the seller is getting on his property. And what's important there is that original list price, because in the course of selling a property, you will oftentimes lower the list price. So what this number means is the original list price. If you started out at $300,000 and you lowered it to $275,000 and you sold it for $250,000, this starts with that $300,000. It compares the sold price to the original list price. So I think that's important, because sometimes that when you're lowering that list price, it doesn't really tell you the whole truth about the market. And then the bottom charts on the left there is average CDOM, and that's cumulative days on the market, which means how many days on the market. And that's a good indication too, because we all know there's houses out there that have been on the market for years sometimes. And the other thing that you want to take into consideration when you're looking at this number is that a house that's been on the market for years and then sells will skew these numbers quite a bit, because the numbers aren't all that high. So you take one that's been on the market for a long time, or you take one that sells within the first couple of weeks, it'll skew those numbers a little bit. So you have to take that into consideration. And then the bottom right-hand chart is average list price versus sales price ratio. And then the next slide, I have Mercer County. Mercer County is just about the same. Again, you could just see by the bar charts that we're coming out of the slump. We're gradually moving ahead. You know, numbers sold, total volume sold, average sold price compared to original list price is bumping up. Days on the market has gone down. Average list price per sales price ratio is going up. So all of the numbers are good. Now we haven't had a big jump. We haven't, you know, we're not back to the 2005 numbers, but we're doing a little better. I'm very optimistic for this spring and summer. Take the next one. Now the MLS has updated their program, so I had to do a little bit of work to get these numbers. It used to be a lot easier to get these numbers, but these are actually what they consider lake sales. And that means they're either on the lake, on a channel, or what they call lake related, lake view or close to the lake. The one that Chris just sold wasn't on the lake or on a channel, but it was close to the lake, so it would show up in these numbers. The numbers are actually down a little bit, but again, when you're talking only 50-some sales, there's a lot of things that can go into that can skew that number. Days on the market, again, they're up. That's up a little bit for lake properties, but I'm not really all that concerned about it. Some of the problem there is we've got some beautiful homes out there that were $1 million homes that are up for sale that just aren't selling. There's just not a market for that high-end home anymore. And then the other chart I have is just a bar chart that shows you what I had on the other graph there. Again, lake sales are not good. They're a little stagnant, but I really think this year is the year that we're going to start moving ahead. A lot of things go into that. First of all, our unemployment rate is really low here. People are starting to feel secure in their jobs. Interest rates are still fairly low. Although they have bumped up to 4.5. I talked to 3 different bankers when I was doing the research on this, and they all told me that they look for the interest rates to bump up a little bit, but not a lot. And that's a fixed rate 30-year is 4.5, just around 4.5. One was 4.37, one was 4.5. But again, that's relative to what interest rates used to be. I mean, 4.5 is still cheap when you consider we used to pay 7 and 8, and we thought that was good. When I called 3 different banks, they're all saying yes, they are lending for home loans on the lake. The appraisals are still fairly low from my experience, and again, there's no numbers that you can go by on that. But you know, people who are selling their homes and maybe built them or bought them 10 years ago, and it comes in appraised lower than it was 10 years ago. Mine is appraised is a lot less than what I paid for it, but it's just a fact. We actually do need more inventory. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of houses out there on the market right now. We need inventory in that $75,000 to $150,000 range. That seems to be the homes that are selling. So, you know, it's a perfect time for somebody to either sell their lake home or to bump up to a nicer home or to buy that second home. I mean, at 4.5% interest rate, you're still getting a pretty good deal. And as the lake gets better and as the reputation for the lake gets better, I really do see more people coming from the Kettering area, the Dayton area, Troy Tip, the people that used to come up here and buy homes. So that's pretty much what I have. That's the statistics that I have. It's been really slow. I've got 2 houses that I just am putting back on the market, but I can't even get out there and put a sign in the yard yet because the weather's so bad. So, but I do look for this spring for things to get better. And all the realtors I talk to, bankers, whatever, they're all pretty optimistic. So, anybody have any questions? Anybody would like to have these numbers? I can email them to you. If you give me your email address, I'll be happy to give that to you.
Linda, are they still doing a 30-year note?
Yeah.
On lake properties?
Yeah.
Now? So
30, 15, and 20.
So
Yep.
that stigma is not out there anymore then? So that's not a hindrance for anybody to refinance or anything like that?
The problem years ago, when we first had problems on the lake, were we got appraisers from the Dayton area or that weren't familiar with this area, and when they appraised the houses, they said they were on toxic lakes. It was on a toxic lake. So automatically, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will buy that, you know, anything like that. They've updated it, they no longer say it's on a toxic lake, you know, the lake's getting better, all of that. So we had a window of about a year, would you say, Mel? Maybe?
Strong here.
Yeah, that we had problems with loans. But now, everybody that I talk to says, no problem. So, anything else? Okay, thank you.